3 years sober, but it hasn't been easy for Victoria. You'll meet her. She's coming up next live on Restoring Hope Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope, open my eyes to see the world through different eyes, revealing your light, restoring hope.
Welcome to another edition of RestoringHopeLive.com, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC, also called Recovery Monday. We appreciate you being here. Lila Stafford in the house, my co-host, as well as Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat. Bob is a former CSI agent with the state of Iowa and is one of the country's most sought-after experts on alcohol and drugs and what they do to your body. Lila is a substance abuse counselor with Powell CDC, and of course, Ryan's producing. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Truth, 99.3. Who's my guest today? Well, she's a lovely young lady who, on November 14th of 2011, decided to put the plug in the jug. She had had enough, and she's been sober now a little over 3 years. But it hasn't been an easy trail, and that's what we'll learn today from Victoria Jones. Victoria, how are you?
I'm good, Mac. Thank you for having me today.
You bet. Nice to have you here. Before we get started, Lila, we've got a big Sober Under the Stars coming up New Year's Eve.
Yes, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it, or tell our listeners about it. We got a really fun thing happening. The kid from Johnston, who was on The Voice and made it to the knockout rounds, is going to be one of the singers.
Okay.
That night he's coming to participate in our event. And we have some other local people that are coming just to sing. And we have another room where a DJ is going to be, a lot of dancing and, food. It's only $5 to come, $3 for kids.
Now, this
12
is
and under.
kid-friendly.
Very kid-friendly. But it's also, it's great for adults, too. I was kind of afraid that it would be too much kid-oriented. And the first time I visited there, I didn't want to leave. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it's at the Science Center of Iowa in downtown Des Moines. Now, is there daycare provided, or is this something where you're taking care of your own kids?
You have got to have your own kid at hand all the time. We have a kids section where there's kids crafts, and a balloon man is going to be there and doing tattoos. A lot of things down at one end of the...
balloon man?
Well, he just...
Is that like the Michelin man?
He blows up balloons in different... Maybe in...
Okay, a balloon man.
Okay. Dogs and things like that, I think. Yeah. And then we have the IMAX Theater. We're playing at 7 o'clock. We're playing Island of Lemurs, Madagascar, and then at 9 o'clock we're doing Great White Sharks.
Wow!
So there's a lot going on. It's really gonna be fun. People can park at the Iowa Cubs Principal Park parking lot, and then we have vans that Toyota has loaned us to, and we have drivers that will drive you back and forth, so you can go right to the door.
6 o'clock, New Year's Eve, Science Center of Iowa, lasts till 1 o'clock.
Correct. Yeah.
That's Sober Under the Stars. All right, Victoria, I appreciate you being here today. Don't be nervous. We have fun doing this.
Okay.
We just want to know your story. And the reason we do this, I don't believe that there are probably addicts or alcoholics listening to this program. I think they've already tuned away. They don't want to hear about it. But their spouses are listening, and their mothers and fathers are listening, and their children are listening, and their small group people are listening. And what we try to do in this program is give people the signs that you will see when there is an alcoholic or an addict, someone who is suffering from life's hurts, habits, or hang-ups in their family or around them. And we try to give them the strength and courage, strength and hope, to understand what this disease is about and know how to combat it, know how to deal with it, and most importantly, know where to turn, which would be Powell, if they need any help. So my belief is there's something inside of your story that somebody needs to hear. And we don't know what that is, and we don't know who that is. And our higher power will make sure that that person's listening to the radio or listening to the podcast, or somehow that message is delivered to them. And I believe that God smiles grandly when that does happen. So, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Des Moines, Iowa, raised in Des Moines, Iowa, born October 2nd, 1961.
So you've always been here in Des Moines.
I am corn-fed, yep.
Corn-fed, there you go. I like that. October 2nd, 1961.
Correct.
And what kind of kid were you?
I was the black sheep of the family, I guess you might say, because I was the good kid.
You were the good kid.
I was the good kid.
How many siblings?
There's 5 of us, so there's 4 other.
And they were rowdy,
Yes,
into mischief.
very.
Where were you on the age scale?
4th,
Fourth, so almost the youngest.
almost.
And why do you think you were the good kid?
That I have not answered to this day, other than as a young girl, I had 2 very special, I call them angels, who picked me up every Sunday and took me to church. I still cannot remember their name. I can remember what they look like. I can remember the church we went to. But I think it helped plant a seed in me that was steadfast regardless of how far off the path I went.
And none of your other siblings went to church?
Once in a while, my mom tried to feed into us to go to church, but the fact that she didn't go with, it made it a little easier
Who were these
for them.
people? Were they friends of yours, or
I don't
friends
know
of your
them.
mother's? Or?
I just know it was through the Nazarene Church on the east side, and I still cannot remember their names. I remember the lady, they always wore skirts and heels, and she had this high hair, kind
A
of like a beehive hair. Yes.
Yeah.
And I went to Bible school, I went to church, and
So
they
did you
picked
feel
me
like
up.
you fit in there?
Yes. Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
In fact, one time when I was a little girl, my dad was a truck driver, so he went on the road often, and I always wanted to go with him. And so I got the opportunity to go, and I don't remember how old I was, but I was young. And if I did so, I would have had to miss Sunday school on Sunday. And so I was tormented. I cried
Oh.
because I did not want to miss Sunday school. And this is such a miraculous thing. It's a God thing. We went. I chose to go with my daddy. We went. Something went wrong with the delivery, and we had to turn around and come back. We were back Saturday night, and I got to go to Sunday school
Aw.
Sunday.
So did you keep the attending church thing going after these 2 mystery angels stopped picking you up?
I did, up until about 5th grade.
Okay.
Had a girlfriend who attended First Federated Church, and so I attended there until 5th grade. I was baptized at First Federated, although at that time, baptism to me was being popular.
Okay.
It didn't have the meaning that it has to me today.
And you said 5th grade. What happened in the 5th grade that you stopped going to church?
Started smoking cigarettes, getting involved with other kids, straying off the path.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so what type of kid were you from 5th grade and on?
I was still a really good girl. Never got kicked out of school. Never got into fights. Didn't get caught up in a whole lot of the drug drinking type thing. Snuck out of the house a couple times. And your girlfriend would stay with you, and you'd stay with your girlfriend type thing. And I had an older brother who had a crowd that I wanted to be in, and that involved drinking, smoking pot, and so of course, I tried it. When my girlfriend in junior high, I was a cheerleader. Back then, they had cheerleaders in junior high. 6th grade was the end of elementary. 7th through 9th was junior high,
Yep.
and so I didn't really have a whole lot of partying, but of course I wanted to try it, and that was where the cool kids were. I wanted to be a cool kid.
How did the cool kids go from the ones being baptized to the ones smoking pot?
I am not sure.
It wasn't the same group, was it?
It was not. I think the transition of elementary, because that was 5th grade, so that was still elementary. And I know that gal that I went to first federated with, she moved away. So then going into junior high, you meet new friends, and you go from there.
So peer pressure has a lot to do with it, doesn't it?
At
least in junior high.
I wouldn't say that peer pressure is what made me try it or guided me to it. But I would say I want to be with my friends. They never, ever pressured me. Mm-hmm. It was like, hey, give it a try. It's fun. And I wanted to have fun, and I wanted to be in that crowd. And
girls just want to have fun.
Yeah, girls just want to have fun.
All right. So when did things begin to accelerate as far as your drinking and drug using? It wasn't in high school. Was it after that then, obviously?
It was way after that. In high school, I am a teen mom. So I got pregnant. And at the age of 16, had a little girl. And so went to a school just for pregnant women where I could take my baby and my books and my diaper bag with me and would drop her off at the nursery downstairs and go to school every day. And for the next 2.5 years, that is what I did. I rode a bus over to 6th Avenue where it was the Salvation Army and took my daughter, me, my backpack, and my diaper bag on a bus and got to school every day. And I graduated. And I'm the only one of 5 kids to actually graduate high school.
In your family?
In my family.
Even though you had the additional responsibility of a baby?
Yes.
Now, the baby's father, where was he in all this?
He said bye-bye.
Okay. Do you have a relationship with him today?
No, he has since passed away.
Oh, okay.
He was an alcoholic.
Okay.
My oldest daughter did get the chance to have a relationship with him, but he had an accident, and I'm not sure of the year. He fell down the stairs and had a concussion and bleeding on the brain, and he passed away.
And how old was your daughter at this time? Basically.
She was in her late 20s, I believe, when this happened. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did she take that? How did that, I mean, was that her dad dying?
That was her dad.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And she felt that in her heart, that was my dad dying.
Yes.
All right. So she took it pretty hard.
What gave you the strength to want to finish high school? I mean, that was a lot of trouble.
It was very important
to me. Take care of a child, catch a bus, go through school. It just seems like a lot for a 16-year-old.
Well, at that time, Lila, you either had to take driver's ed or you had to wait until you were 18 to get your license.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so, they have it kind of easy nowadays. And we didn't have driver's ed at this school. This was kind of like a scavo. We called it booth. And so I had no choice. It was the bus. My mom worked 3 jobs, and there was no choice. It was taking the bus. I knew I needed to graduate high school. Yeah. It was an absolute. When I was a young gal, and I don't remember who sat down with me and did this, it was probably in junior high, she told me to make some goals for myself. And, I had no clue what to do. She said, just some simple things you'd like to accomplish in your life. I made 4 goals. And one of them, and she said they can be anything you want, like, or need. One of them was I wanted to own a red Camaro.
Okay.
I did. The other one was to graduate high school. I did. The third one was to go to college and obtain my degree. I did. And the fourth one was to own my own home, and I've not gotten to that yet.
But you did graduate from college.
Yes, I did. I have a degree in education.
Victoria Jones is our guest today. She is telling her story in hopes that it helps your story or someone that you know. 888-244-0077 if you want to call in on the show today and talk to Victoria. Otherwise, when we come back, she graduates high school. She's got a daughter on her knee, and she moves forward. But at some point, alcohol sneaks up and kicks her butt. How did that happen, and how did she recover from it? Next on Restoring Hope Live.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places, especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
21 minutes after the hour, good afternoon. This is Restoring Hope Live, brought to you by Powell CDC and the good folks at Powell, 263-2424. And remember, Powell isn't just about alcohol. It's also about drug addiction and other things. In fact, I had the opportunity to refer someone to Powell this morning. The wife of a friend of mine called me at about 10:15 this morning and said that her husband was really going through something tough, and it had to do with legally prescribed medication. And so I picked up the phone and called Lila, and she put me in touch with the necessary people. And now he and his bride are going over to Powell, I think this afternoon or tomorrow, and have a screening.
Yeah.
And what is a screening?
They talk to an intake counselor who just takes all the information from them, like how much they've been using, how long, and they can figure out what it is they need from that point.
Okay. And you don't do much inpatient, right? You're mostly outpatient.
The only inpatient we have is if they're in detox.
Okay.
So that if they need detox, it's usually for a week, sometimes maybe a week and a half or so, and then they go to outpatient.
And you guys do a lot of aftercare, ongoing, continuous, perpetual aftercare.
Yeah, your chances of staying sober are 37% higher if you go to aftercare and AA meetings, have a sponsor. So we have 20 different groups that meet throughout the week, and we have between 10, 15 per group. And we have them both in West Des Moines at Methodist West and at Lutheran.
Well, and it's a wonderful program, Powell CDC. It is a place you ought to just write down someplace in your little black book, 263-2424. That's area code 515. And just keep it close. And if you are listening outside of the central Iowa area, call Powell and have them recommend somebody that's in the area. Unity Point has hospitals in the Quad Cities. They have them in Wisconsin. They have them in Michigan. They have them in many different places, so across the country. And they can also refer you to one that isn't even a part of their group based on where you live. So Powell CDC will help you out. Victoria Jones is our guest at age 14. How old were you when you had your daughter?
I was 16.
16. Had her daughter, and even though she had a baby strapped to her hip, she finished high school and then finished college and graduated with a degree in education. Now, at some point in there, did you get married?
I did.
What year was that?
In 1987.
All right, and this was not to your mother's or your daughter's father?
No, this was the father of my second two children.
Okay. And how long did that marriage last?
7 years.
And was there alcohol and drugs and everything like that in that marriage?
There was.
Okay. But you still hadn't really hit bottom yet.
I had not.
So the alcohol and drug use was just casual.
It was for both of us. But at this time, by that time, I'm a maturing woman realizing that alcohol and drugs are not going to be part of my family. And I made a choice to leave that marriage in 1994 with the solution for him that I would not divorce or file any legal action. He had a year to get himself together. And my partying had already stopped. I was maturing, and his did not. So a year later, I had to make a very hard decision. And I, by that time, had started attending church again as well. And I was very strong in my faith. And it took a lot for me to leave that marriage because I believe in the sanctity of vows. And so I counseled for that whole year with my pastor, with other Christian couples. And it was finally when he revealed to me that there may be a hardening of the heart, I had resolution. And I filed for a divorce. That was in 1995. That was final. And now I am a single mom with 2 young children. And I knew I needed to do something.
Well, you said 2 young children. You had 3, though.
Because my oldest was not living with us.
Okay. All right. Who was she living with?
By this time, she was having a child of her own.
Oh, so she was up and on her own?
Yes, she was.
Okay. So you kind of had 2 generations of babies.
I did. My oldest was 8 years old when my second child was born.
Wow. Okay. Now, during that year that you gave your husband to figure things out, did you remain living in the same house?
I did not.
Okay.
On the day I chose to leave, I took everything that I could and packed it in my car. I got my kids to school first, packed everything that I could in my car, and I left. And by probably 8 o'clock that night, I still had no clue where we were going to stay. I thought I would possibly stay with my sister, who was the only one who had room, and that wasn't going to happen. So I made a call to the Battered Women's Shelter, where they took us in. They gave us our own room. We didn't have to share, and I stayed there for 4 months.
Wow. That was nice that that was available.
Yes, it was.
All right. So at 95, you're divorced. You have 2 children. How old are they at the time?
I think 7 and 9.
9? Okay.
Yeah, they're 13 months apart.
All right. And when you got out of the battered woman's home, where did you go?
I had an apartment in Carlisle for a while until I could get an apartment here in Des Moines. And for the next 10 years, we lived in the apartments on Hall Avenue. It was during that time that daytime jobs just weren't working for me. I tried the before and after daycare so that I couldn't afford it. I was no child support, single mom. I tried banker's hours. That wasn't enough to pay the bills. So I finally quit the jobs and went back to school, which meant that I was completely dependent on the state of Iowa.
Wow. And so they helped you with your bills, and you got an education in education.
I did.
From
You know,
Grandview.
even with an education, it is so expensive to take care of children and work. My daughter told me this weekend that it costs them $200 a week for daycare, and I take care of the baby 2 days of the week, so that's 3 days a week for $200.
When I was trying to get assistance to help with my daycare before I went back to school, I was $23 over the limit.
Oh,
in income.
In income, and they couldn't help me.
whoa.
So what'd you do?
I quit my job and went back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is your children's father involved in the picture at all?
He is still here in Des Moines.
But was he during that time? Was he supportive? Did he help with the kids' bills, things like that?
No.
No. But they have a good relationship with him today?
They do have a good relationship with him.
Good,
yes.
good. So when did the alcohol start to ramp up?
Probably after I graduated from college.
2000.
The 4 years while I was in college, when I left my husband, I made a decision between me and God. There was not going to be an attempt to date. That was just not going to happen. I focused on my children. They needed to get healthy after the divorce, and I focused on school, their school, and our priorities. And then after 2000, I taught for 2 years. I substitute taught, and it was right around that time. My kids are older now. They're teenagers. They're out of the house. I'm alone. I'm thinking, maybe we can start going out a little bit. I talked it over with them. They were cool with it. That led to going out a little bit more. That led to more social activities, which included beer. Hence, my drinking path really started about that time.
All right. So this is 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
And tell me about the progression of that drinking. You said it started with beer. Did it always stay with beer?
I was not a heavy drinker until around, I think, 2005, 2006. I discovered tequila.
Oh.
And tequila was inexpensive. It was fast. It was quick. But somehow my body progressed with that, in that I never, ever felt like I had an addictive behavior before, but something developed during this time. And one was not enough, one was not enough, and 20 was too many, but I didn't care. It was during this time that blackouts started, wetting the bed started, passing out, wetting the bed, driving drunk. I can remember several times hitting cones in the road. I can remember friends dragging me away from an accident where it wasn't really an accident, but went up over the curb a little bit, bumped the guy next to me.
Was that all funny to you at the time?
Pardon me?
Was that funny to you at the time?
Oh, yes. It was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Until 2 weeks later when the police gave me a call, and I'm like, oh no, what happened? I'm thinking I'm clear and free.
Yeah.
And nothing ever did occur. There was no damage done to the gentleman's car. He was just very, very angry, which justifiably so.
No DUIs or anything
My
like that?
first DUI was in 2006.
All right.
And I was plastered.
And where did they pick you up at?
They picked me up in the drive-thru of a Taco John's.
Really?
Yes. I bumped the guy in front of me. And actually what had happened was I was crying and blah, blah, blah all over. I had broken up with a boyfriend, and a girlfriend had said, you're not even going to be able to sleep tonight. She gave me a half of a pill of probably a Xanax or something, but said, don't take it till you get home. And I had already done several shots of tequila to drown my sorrows, of course, and took the Xanax as well. And when it came time to leave the bar, I was not going to drive, and I asked someone to drive for me. He went out to try to move the car, and he came back in and he said, we got to have other people move the car. And Miss Know-It-All here went out. You don't hand me the keys. He handed me the keys. I went out, moved my car, got out of there, and decided I was hungry on my way home, so I'm going to stop at the drive-through Taco John's, because I had my little path to get home that was nice and safe when I was drinking and driving, but it didn't include stopping at Taco John's.
And you had tapped the guy in front of you?
I must have tapped the guy in front of me, so the Taco John employees held my food while they called the police officers, and they held my food until the officers got there.
Wow.
Hey, I want to ask Bob something. What happens when you take Xanax and drink? Because there are lots of people that do that.
Well, it has a synergistic effect, meaning that the drugs work in combination to increase the problem. The central nervous system depressant effect within you. And you hear about a lot of celebrities that take drugs and alcohol, and they say they die. It's an accidental death because of the effect of both drugs within the system.
Because they're both doing the same thing.
Well, yeah, it's kind of you're going to get a double whammy depending on what you're doing, and a lot of times they even have it written on the prescription bottle.
Yeah.
Don't drink alcohol when you're on this medication.
And I don't think people really get how serious it is. And you kind of hear it, and it's like, oh, well, that won't happen to me. But I guess I'm bringing it up because I want people to really understand that it is dangerous.
Oh, it is, and the same thing as the sleeping drugs too.
Yeah,
Ambien.
I can add to that when we come back. Victoria Jones is our guest. Lila Stafford from Powell CDC, along with Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat. Ryan's producing, and I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Truth. The Truth. 99.3.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, I would like to remind people that the person who sings our theme song is Matt Baird. He is a local Des Moineite. Des Moineite, is that good? Mm-hmm. And is getting ready to record an entire gospel album. And if you're one of those people that would like to support something like that, you can go to FundMe, FUNDME / what's the slash? Oh, it's just Matt Baird. And his band is called Spoken, and they travel all around the country. And he wrote and performed that song for us for this program.
Is it BAIRD?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And did you go to church this weekend?
No. I know. I had so much work to do. I feel really guilty, and I was going to watch on
and you didn't
online,
do that either?
and I got busy.
Well, the only reason I say that is because Pastor Mike, who Lila and I go to the same church, and our lead pastor uses the term quite often in sermons, this side of heaven. Mm-hmm. This side of heaven. Yeah. And so on Friday, Matt was on a bus coming home, listening to one of Pastor Mike's sermon, and he thought he'd write a song. And so from Friday afternoon to Sunday morning, he wrote a song called This Side of Heaven, and he performed it at church on Sunday, and it was really good. Really good.
I'm gonna watch online.
Yeah, he did a real good job.
Good.
So, Victoria Jones is our guest today, and she's telling us what her life was like, what happened, and what her life is like now. And actually, everything went pretty good for the first 40 years of your life.
Right.
You know, you had 3 children, had an unsuccessful marriage, but you were a stay-at-home mom, and you did good. You went to school, got a degree from a local nursing college. An education college. Mm-hmm. But then things started getting out of hand in the mid-2000s, 5, 6, 7. You discovered something called tequila.
Yes.
And you had your first OWI when you were held up in a Taco John's to-go line. Did you have another one?
I did. In 2010, I got my second DUI. And it was in between the first and the second. A lot of that heavy drinking, blacking out. I don't know how many drive-thrus I probably fell asleep in. I worked at a bar, so shots after work was not out of the ordinary. There were several signs. Pulled over after work, drunk. I can remember an officer asking me, have you been drinking? No, I served them all night. But then I got my second DUI in 2010. And it was in 2010 I decided, when my daughter said to me, there were other people around me saying I had a drinking problem. And my children never, ever came face to face and said that to me. But my daughter one day said, well, maybe you should lay off the shots, Mom. That was her easy way of letting me know. It's kind of obvious. Mm-hmm. And so I did. And I switched to wine. And I'm thinking, a couple glasses of wine, that's what they teach you in the first DUI class. I'm thinking, I got this under control. I'm not getting drunk. I'm not blacking out. I'm not beating people up, being aggressive, da-da-da-da-da. And one night when I was having an argument with a boyfriend, I had 2 glasses of wine and decided to leave because things weren't going my way. And that was the time, actually, I shouldn't have been driving. And I went to the bar that I worked at, and I'm going to chill here for a while now. I'm just going to chill. I'm going to do some karaoke and just calm down. And I'm feeling fine. I'm not feeling tipsy. So I'm thinking I'm going to do a shot before I leave. This is a 4-hour period. Pardon me. Within that 4-hour period, I had 2 glasses of wine and 1 shot of tequila. I'm thinking I'm absolutely fine to drive.
Yeah.
I get pulled over on the way home. When the officer says, "Have you been drinking?" I said, "Yes, I had some earlier," thinking I was well within my limits.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I was over. And I was hauled to jail for my second DUI, where I now have to do 2 days in jail, attend a DUI camp, which is 2 weekends now. And the fine the first time was somewhere around $5,000, the total cost. And the second one, I believe, cost me about $7,000.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
It's not.
It's not cheap. But that never stops us. But at this time, something got your attention.
Something happened. In my first weekend that I came home from the DUI camp, I couldn't wait to have a glass of wine. I'm done with it. I'm going to have a glass of wine. I'm going to chill. I'm going to do my week. And I did. That second weekend, and I didn't drink during the week, but that second weekend I went on a Saturday night. I listened to a young man tell his story. He was fresh out of prison, and he was telling the story of his friend who flew out of the truck when he rolled his truck because he was drunk driving. And while I'm listening to this young man tell his story, I put myself in his clothes. And instead of him telling the story, it was me this time telling my story of my friend dying or me killing somebody and having gotten out of prison. And it was at that point I could clearly hear God saying to me, "You need to wake up, because if you don't, this is you."
Yeah, you're going to end up killing somebody.
Yeah.
So my guess is you didn't have a glass of wine when you got home from that camp.
From that camp, I didn't.
And was that the end of? Was that your sobriety date?
That was the end. Actually, that was November 21st. That night that I had woke up and made that decision, but I hadn't had a glass of wine or anything to drink since November 14th. November 13th was the day I came home, and I did have a glass of wine from the 14th on. So at this point, I hadn't drank that whole week. I made that decision that night. I was done. I was absolutely done drinking. And I didn't know where I was going to go, but I did know that I needed help to do it. And that was the trust and faith in a higher power, which I call Jesus Christ, my God. And so for 2 months, I was sober without any kind of a program. And I just had given it up. I gave complete authority to Christ and said, "I will follow where you lead." And I thought I was going to be going back to church. But lo and behold, God said, "No, we're going to AA." And I'm not thinking I'm an alcoholic at this time. I'm thinking I was just a gal who had some serious drinking problems.
Yeah, there's something about that name, alcoholic.
And so it's really funny how he got me there, because I don't know if I would have went had there been a blasting sign in my head that said, "You're an alcoholic and we need some help here." But I've always known that when you do something outside your own power, you need the numbers of many to help strengthen you. So I knew I wanted to be with people who thought the same thing I thought, who needed the same thing and felt the same way I did. I was on Social Network, and I had a girlfriend, and I had posted, "I'm sober, I'm done, and I'm 2 months sober." And a girlfriend had somebody pop up, and I said, "Oh, who's that?" Because I'm thinking I'm going to find a guy who's sober, right? And she said, "That's so-and-so, and V, he's in the program. He's in AA. Give him a call." And it was scary, but I did. And my mind thought switched from, "Hey, let's find a guy," to, "Let's get some business going here." And he invited me to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, where then they were going to go over to the White House, which is a sober clubhouse here in Des Moines, for a birthday event afterwards. And he was very gracious. He did exactly as the program asked him to do. When a hand of AA reaches out, he was there. And then he got me directed to a woman in the program. And I lived on the west side of Des Moines at the time, and that is the east side of Des Moines. And so I wanted to be closer and do things closer to my place. And I said to her, I've been wanting to go to this meeting out at Hope Church. And she said, I've wanted to go to that. I would go with you. And we got started in meetings out there on the west side.
Victoria Jones is my guest. This is now somewhere around January, February of 2012. And but life didn't get easy. You know, everybody thinks when you quit drinking, life gets easy. In fact, Victoria's dealt one of the biggest disappointments and sadness in her life. We'll talk about that and her life sober next here on Restoring Hope Live.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
Welcome back, 10 before the top. Salem Radio Network News will update us on the world events, and then Pastor Michael Mudloff from Westkirk Presbyterian Church with True Blue. This program brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC. Now, you probably think that those of us who are sober don't have any fun anymore, right? What's the old country song? Ever since you stopped drinking, you're no fun anymore, or whatever that is. But Powell has a wonderful New Year's Eve planned for you. It is at the Science Center of Iowa. Doors open at 6. It's $5 for adults, $3 for kids. Free food. There will be music being performed. There will be open mic. The IMAX Theater will be open. There will be DJ with dancing, plus all the festivities and all the events and activities that the Science Center brings to you. There is no daycare, so kids are attached to the hip, but you're welcome to join us. Parking at the iCubs parking lot, and then we can bus you over, or there's parking right around that area. That's New Year's Eve. It's a sober New Year's Eve at the Science Center of Iowa, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC.
I just wanted to say, I've had a couple people mention, and on my way here today, I met on Facebook, somebody said, isn't that kind of dangerous to have it at the Science Center because there's so many bars around there? But that's why we have this transportation available, is so that you can park your car, and then we have transportation will take you right to the front door, and you're not even tempted by any of the bars around there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And so are attendance limited? I mean, is there only so many tickets you're going to sell? Or
no, but we're expecting maybe, well, we've always had about 500, and so we're expecting between 500 and 1,000.
Wow, that's awesome. And you put that all together.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am right now.
Yes, you do.
I don't
a
want
good
to take
job.
credit till afterwards.
Oh, okay.
It's a good sober.
Her husband put it together, and then if it goes well, Lila did it. All right. Victoria, so you are now, and I met you because you said something on a social network about getting sober. I don't know if you said getting sober but needing a meeting or something like that. And so
Yes.
I reached out and I said, come to this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you reached out. Well, you talked to your friend in Ankeny, and she met you at the meeting.
She
and
did.
I remember when you walked in because you looked at me and you went, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Only from social media.
You're right.
And that was the beginning of what you, I mean, you're very service oriented.
Very.
I mean, you take this 12-step stuff not only seriously from taking the 12 steps, but also serving the organization of AA.
I do. Well, the first 6 months was quite confusing. I really didn't know much. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do it. I just knew to get to meetings, and I knew as many as possible. And I just listened a lot. I listened to a lot of people and share, and things started clicking. And then within the first 6 months, in a women's meeting on the West Side as well, because of course I was still concerned with everybody else around who had a problem and not me. A young gal said to me one night, they have a God and it's not you. And the bells went off. And that's when I realized that I was not in this program to cure anybody else but myself. And I got busy. I also got introduced to the White House in Des Moines, Iowa, where I then got on the board at the White House and got serious into some service work. I served a year on that board, a little over a year. I started a second term. But during that, and I started listening. I got a sponsor. I started working the steps. I'm currently on my third sponsor, though, due to just certain circumstances.
Sure.
It didn't work, get another one. Try again, try
that's
again,
right.
try again. And for the first time, I'm 3 years sober, finally have gotten through the first
12 steps.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Do you have any sponsorees?
No, I do not.
You're not sponsoring anybody yet?
No.
Do you
Now-
want to?
Well, actually, I have kind of semi-sponsored. Gals have asked me, and I went to my sponsor, and she said there was nothing wrong with you coming alongside other women and encouraging them. And my thought was, well, I hadn't gotten through my steps. How could I do that? You can be an encouragement to anybody in this program, and because it is a program of
Attraction.
thank you, of attraction rather than promotion. So.
All right, Victoria Jones is our guest. Now, life is not easy because life still comes at us on life's terms. And in the middle of your last 3 years, you lost a loved one.
I did. I can remember it was, so I'm a year sober. I'm thinking I'm going good. I'm doing some serious work here. I'm right before I met this gentleman, I can remember God saying to me, Victoria, when am I ever going to be enough for you? And I could hear it loud and clear. And so I quit worrying about dating. I quit worrying about anything other than just doing this program. And lo and behold, I happened to meet a man, and I had prayed and asked for a date. And I met a man, and the first time in my whole life, he was 14 years sober. I actually had a man willing to pray with me. And instead of me prompting the prayer, he put his hand out to pray with me. And it was pretty awesome. And it didn't last very long because he was suddenly taken in an accident at work, a tragic accident. He was on life support for a week, and he passed away of October 3rd, 2013.
And you stayed sober.
I did. And I just spoke in a meeting the other night, and the topic was service work. I don't think that I would have without the service work. You know, I made a very strong commitment to God, so I can't really say I wouldn't have, but because I made that commitment to go to any length, God showed me exactly what to do to keep that commitment for myself. And that was, I can remember coming home from the hospital in Iowa City and walking in the parking lot of the White House, and a gentleman who knew me well, a friend of mine, he saw it on my face. He knew I was ready to step down, and he said, "Don't. You're going to need this." And also, at the time, I was in a transition of sponsors, so I did not have a sponsor when this happened. October 5th of 2013, this is 2 days after he passed away. I mean, I had been looking, so I had 2 women in mind. That Saturday, my now sponsor called.
Good.
And I almost didn't answer the phone because my phone had been bombarded, and something stopped me, and I said, "Take a moment. You need to take this call." And I did, and I sat and I chatted with her and cried. And at the end of that, she was one of the women that I had in my mind of the 2. And at the end of that conversation, I said, "I am needing a sponsor. Would you please sponsor me?"
And you got a sponsor, and here you are over 3 years sober, and so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's the show for today. Thank you, Victoria Jones, for sharing your story. Thank you, Lila, for being here, Bob Montserrat and Ryan. And I'm Mac, and tonight, do me a favor, forgive somebody. Get rid of that resentment you've been carrying, and give yourself the gift of forgiveness. We'll see you tomorrow.
Restoring